These MLB players were sometimes making prop bets on how many pitches would be above 80, how many pitches would be in the dirt. Pete Rose is the major name in baseball tied to betting, but no proof he ever bet against his own team. Yet for all of that, he got banned in 1989, and Hustle was out for the Hall of Fame. Charlie Hustle was not going to get in until recently. This last September, they said, yeah, he can come in. Well, he died at age 83. Will Rose still get in? What are the odds? And if he does get into the Hall of Fame, what are the odds Charlie Hustle will come out of the grave? Oh, you think that's slim to none? There's someone waiting to take that bet.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
I want to tell you more about Wellington Environmental's dustless blasting services. Wellington can blast paint, grease, graffiti, even stripes off parking lots. Truly amazing and powerful. But can Wellington blast something more sensitive? Yes, Wellington can use dry ice to blast soot and odors off smoke-damaged surfaces right after a fire. Currently, Wellington uses dry ice to clean mold off wood inside a home. Why? Well, dry ice immediately disappears, turns into a vapor. That means no mess to clean up, no damaged surfaces. You need to check with Wellington, always researching and practicing with new, better, faster, safer equipment and products for you. And it's very easy to schedule an estimator for your next project. Call Cindy, 314-644-4930, 644-4930. Be well with Wellington.
News Talk STL. This hour of the Allman Report brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Just turn me loose, let me straddle my old saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise. I want to ride to the ridge where the west commences. Gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. I can't look at hobbles and I can't stand fences. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in.
I'm kind of smiling because, well, first of all, happy Wednesday to all of you and yours. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL, and it's like really warm outside. It's going to be like 70 degrees on Friday, and you got to love this about St. Louis. And so I'm in the studio, and we've got Fox 2 on in the studio, and normally we have another station on or whatever. It just happened to be Fox 2. And I'm looking at them promoting the Polar Express train ride for Christmas down at Union Station. And I got to tell you, the Polar Express is great. Have you ever done that, Ashlyn? The Polar Express thing?
I haven't. I've really wanted to.
You really should. I mean, it really is. We took the kids there when they were really little. And, you know, some of the kids come in their pajamas and stuff like that. But it is really cool. And they do some really great things down there at Union Station. But the Polar Express thing is the real deal. It's everything everybody says that it is. So it's pretty fun. And it's the cast is great. And, you know, I kind of always wanted to kind of do that, like be I mean, you won't catch me like at Disney with like a goofy costume on, but I've always kind of wanted to do that. Because a lot of these people who do all the, the conductor and all the people on the there and are all like actors and stuff, and so it's really kind of fun and very interesting to have this happening while at the same time it's sunny and 65 outside. But that's the way it is. We could here in St. Louis, we've gotten used to enjoying the holiday spirit when it's 70 degrees. I feel like I should get all of my Christmas decorations up this weekend because sometimes there's not enough time, and given the extent to which I decorate my house, it is miserable doing it when it's 30 degrees. It's so much more fun when it's like 70, but we'll see how all of that goes. My daughter, Natalie, turning 18 years old this weekend. And so super looking forward to having a little bit of fun there. So we're going to kind of make a big deal of that. So that's on the 16th, as they say, but we'll celebrate this weekend. All right, folks, this is interesting. I want to, just a little later on, by the way, Rick Pogue's going to be on with us. I found a clip of Maria Bartiromo with Prince that I have never seen before. And I realize a lot of you are fans of Maria Bartiromo, but if you have seen that before, then maybe, but if you haven't, it was really surprising to me. And also, Joe Rogan is now saying, I think, what a lot of people just haven't really wanted to talk about because they have been rather maybe intimidated by it, or don't want to really sound overwhelmingly negative, or bringing on something or encouraging something that we don't want. But Joe Rogan has finally kind of said it, that we're on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of our proximity to a real civil war. We're at about a 7 right now. And I think a lot of us have been kind of ignoring it because we're just kind of throwing it off there to a thing that really kind of belongs to the left. And, oh, they're just crazy. Oh, they're just this. But you've got to, I mean, when you listen to this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And it was not just the celebration of Charlie Kirk's assassination. And I'm talking a celebration of a man's death and murder right in front of everybody's eyes because he says things you disagree with. Like, he doesn't even have a position of political power. He's influential to certain people, but that's it. But if you've got people in schools, you've got people in insurance companies, you've got people everywhere celebrating a murder of a guy because they disagreed with him. That's where you get to be on the brink. And then we had the Turning Point USA event at Berkeley that was dependent upon a bunch of masked activists lighting fires and physically attacking people. And there's only so much people are going to be able to take on that. And if I constantly talk about this because I'm not afraid of some kind of armed confrontation with the left on that level because, well, for obvious reasons, but I'm more doing it because I think they ought to be able to find some way to save themselves at this point instead of provoking something that will almost surely result in their demise. So we'll talk more about that later on down the line. So one of the things that is really truly more scary even than like a Antifa guy at a Turning Point USA event is when you have a situation where the news media is starting to become a propagandist arm of the left in an attempt to destroy conservative voices. And a lot of it used to be like in the talk about when we had discussions about election interference or election fraud. And they always said, well, that's a conspiracy theory. That's a conspiracy theory. And the news media constantly kind of talked about that. That's a conspiracy theory. And that was their way of kind of writing everybody off. Also, of course, having been there and done that in my own lifetime, where something really super innocuous and inoffensive, even to the person whose name was in it, resulted in a mob that got me canceled. But it was really just used by people like the Post-Dispatch and other news organizations, Media Matters, and others to destroy an opposing voice. That was really what it was about. They didn't care what I said because they knew whatever it was joking anyway. But they used it to basically facilitate the removal of my voice. I was one of the first out of the blocks in the cancel culture in that sense. So I've been there and done that, and I know how that operates. And Tucker Carlson is kind of the latest in that, with the liberal media now joining forces with some people in the conservative media to basically marginalize Tucker Carlson. Now, again, I have no this isn't about Nick Fuentes because I don't really pay attention to him. My son, who's 21, at one point listened to his podcasts and then had enough. So he's not a fan. But that doesn't mean that Tucker Carlson doesn't talk to him or find out what's going on or whatever. I mean, but again, because Tucker Carlson is influential and always has been, and I still think is brilliant, they want to try to find things to use to destroy him. The latest is the Wall Street Journal coming out and basically reporters calling him a moron for entertaining the question over chemtrails. Now, keep in mind, there are individuals out there, and you've seen them on Facebook and beyond, who have brought up this idea of chemtrails or what have you. We did find out after that flood in Texas that actually there is a bunch of playing around in the atmosphere among the people who are cloud seeding and testing this and testing that. So, and also the people who are criticizing Tucker Carlson for even bringing this up are forgetting the history of government action in the sky. That actually one of the biggest pieces of evidence of the dastardly nature of government actually occurred here in St. Louis. And I'll get to that. I want to first get to what Tucker Carlson's crime happened to be, and that was just simply asking about chemtrails. And for someone, and of course the Wall Street Journal is an establishment deep state propaganda arm. That's what it is. And so all of you out there are willing to pretty much entertain any kind of what they call a conspiracy theory, because who would have ever thought that the FBI would spy on a president of the United States, right? I mean, we thought that the killing of Kennedy and Martin Luther King and Malcolm X would have changed the country forever, and the crime of Vietnam and the phony Iraq war. We would have thought we would have had enough by then, but apparently there are still people who are clinging to this idea that the government is good and that the actors all have our interests at heart. And you couldn't be, at this point, more naive. I mean, we've got the entire left and the Democrat Party basically shining the shoes of the deep state. These guys now apparently who are so against ICE are the biggest holster sniffers on the planet when it comes to the FBI and the CIA and all the spooks out there. It's really weird. But anyway, this was Tucker Carlson's crime, apparently.
That are so vigorously discouraged. And one of the questions that's been the most discouraged over the past 30 years are what are those lines in the sky that you see trailing jets? What is that? Some people call them chemtrails, claim that somehow the U.S. government is spraying poison on the population. Those people are clearly crazy. Wikipedia calls them crazy. Every news outlet calls them crazy.
Yeah, why? How could the government possibly poison its own citizens? Well, I got news for you. It did. 50 years ago here in St. Louis. And guess who I'm going to have tell you the story about that? None other than St. Louis Public Radio. Yeah. A great attempt to try to smear Tucker Carlson on behalf of the Wall Street Journal and establishment media and other conservative players. Yeah, Amy points out 3 words, Coldwater Creek, of course. And then these people in St. Charles, like, why would you not want a data center in St. Charles? It's like, wait a minute, we've seen you guys operate like this before. So I'll tell you more about that later. Happy Wednesday to all of you and yours. This is the 3 Martini Lunch, the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
St. Louis's place to talk.
Freedom of speech is one of the anchors of our society.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, Clayton Sleep, man, it's really, Dr. Joe Ojal really is a great guy and has been my kind of sleep guru for 20 years now. And, you know, I've learned a few things, even though I haven't necessarily kept with it, right? So even though I don't have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, the reality is that doesn't mean I can go to bed like at 2 o'clock in the morning and wake up at 9 or 8 and feel like I really had still a good night's sleep. It's important to, for instance, go to sleep early, even if you do sleep in, but to go to sleep early because when you're going to bed like late, like I love being a night owl, but man, I notice the difference when I figure, well, I don't know, I don't have to get up till 10. You know, and so why not 2? I can go to bed, but that's a different pattern because there are things happening, you know, and like you go to bed at 2, and then suddenly 5 hours later the kids are up going to school, or your people are messaging you because stuff's happening from work or whatever, and so you're losing that element there. That's what he taught me about going to bed earlier, getting to sleep while everybody else is sleeping, and then waking up so that you're fine. And that's just another example of how we can coach you. Sleep apnea is a different animal because that's a physical thing that needs to be dealt with. But there are patterns that you can approach in your daily life that will help you get a calmer sleep. Obviously, there are other physical things you have to do. A CPAP machine might have to be the option for you, a mouth guard, whatever. Either way, Dr. Ojal will solve all those problems, even solving pediatric problems. They have the sleep clinics, which are hugely comfortable, like boutique hotels that you can choose to go to, or just a consultation, whatever. You'll figure it out once you meet with the experts at the Clayton Sleep Institute, claytonsleep.com.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli here with our great friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Hi, Chris.
How are you, Vic?
I don't want to put anybody else down, but when you go up and visit you at Serenity Wealth, your place looks like home.
So a lot of financial advisory offices, they have, you know, the big mahogany desk or the big marble entryways and things like that. The stock market channel on the TV when you walk in the door, right? That doesn't really drive a good conversation. Good financial guidance and advice starts with a good conversation. People are nervous. People are afraid to talk about finances, right? And so you can see a little standoffish. Well, my objective is to try to have a good, casual conversation. By having those conversations about life, goals, objectives, it's what makes me understand what our financials are supposed to fund.
So if somebody does want to have a good conversation, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Our website is the best way to do that because you can get all the information you need to understand where we are, get a little bit more information, all that. SerenityWealthNow.com.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Will Dems or Republicans prevail in the fight over the very broken Obamacare? Chris Salcido of Newsmax will explain at 5:20.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. No big old corporate lib AM station telling us what to say here. Conservative talk for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here with you and Ashlyn over there. And a beautiful little Wednesday out there. Somebody asking me about my shirt. So this is the original Splash Mountain shirt. Like this is how little I give a flying F what people think. So I love Disney World, by the way. And I know people, that's gay. I don't care. So I love it. But anyway, when the kids were little, it was fun to go to. So they, Splash Mountain was like one of the famous ones. It was great, you know. And the theme was like from Song of the South, you know. And people called it racist because it was like, oh, Rare Rabbit. They talk like that. And it was based on the Song of the South movie, which actually I never saw. But, you know, it was like, here comes Randy, here goes. They talk like that all the time. So, and that's how they talk. And they had, you know, that theme. But and they called it, people called it racist. And so they're like, well, we got to stop doing this version of Splash Mountain. And the minute I heard they were going to do that, I went out and got like 5 Splash Mountain t-shirts from the old Splash Mountain, kind of in hopes of triggering somebody, I guess, too. What is that? That's the old Splash Mountain version. He's a member of the Klan. But alas, I shall not and do not and will not care. All right, so back to Tucker Carlson and the smear job they're doing with him on the whole element of the chemtrails. And it's so funny how, like, the Wall Street Journal, other people, like, I first picked up on this on Mediaite. So what Mediaite is it's an aggregate site that has a bunch of different articles about it that are mostly critical of conservatives, whatever. And, you know, they use the same kind of language, you know, so-and-so slams Tucker Carlson or whatever. And the media piece on Tucker is Tucker Carlson ruthlessly mocked over chemtrail conspiracy. And of course, he's ruthlessly mocked by a bunch of rubes on the internet, by the Wall Street Journal and others, acting as if this guy is some kind of crazy person for bringing up the question about chemtrails.
It's always the obvious questions that are so vigorously discouraged. And one of the questions that's been the most discouraged over the past 30 years are, what are those lines in the sky that you see trailing jets? What is that? Some people call them chemtrails, claim that somehow the U.S. government is spraying poison on the population. Those people are clearly crazy. Wikipedia calls them crazy. Every news outlet calls them crazy.
Yeah, and they're calling him Tucker a moron. But isn't it funny how these people are all about how, the government's not, why would the government poison its own citizens? Because the government did poison its own citizens. The black community in North St. Louis was poisoned by the United States military 50 years ago. But you don't have to necessarily believe me. Why don't we take it from this right-wing conspiracy theory outlet known as St. Louis Public Radio?
This is St. Louis Public Radio. The U.S. government subjected many residents of predominantly black neighborhoods in North St. Louis to a military experiment in the 1950s and 60s. Federal contractors sprayed a toxic substance into the air there without telling the public what they were doing.
Yeah. Oh, really? And so it's interesting how these media outlets and news outlets like Mediaite or like the Wall Street Journal will act as if suggesting that there's a possibility the government is playing games in the sky. Never mind that 3 months ago we found out they actually were playing games in the sky down in Texas with the weather stuff. But they're acting like it's some kind of weird conservative thing when we ask about this kind of stuff. But the fact of the matter is, St. Louis Public Radio, my goodness, it's as liberal as they come. But so would they be considered to be moronic or whatever by the Wall Street Journal standards or Mediaite standards when they reported on this? I mean, this is a matter of fact.
They were doing. Many St. Louisans have long suspected that this caused chronic health problems, including cancer. Survivors tell their stories in a documentary film now available to stream through the St. Louis International Film Festival.
Yeah, and by the way, I have it. And keep in mind that this was not only the military spraying chemicals on the black community, they were spraying the chemicals over the housing projects because those people were surely not going to have any kind of voice. They're just a bunch of black people, poor black people in housing projects. I mean, how is it possible that you can have one black person at this level out protesting Doge or protesting Elon Musk in an effort to root out corruption in our deep state? How is it possible? How is it possible that any black person can trust the government? I mean, I don't trust it, and I haven't had family members or ancestors poisoned. So how is it possible? And how is it possible that any responsible news media outlet or anything else can sit there and smear a guy like Tucker Carlson for merely, I mean, it's an hour long that he did on it. So they went through all kinds of different things. But for merely asking the question, of course, his first sentence is really all you need to know. And he says sometimes the most obvious questions are the ones they don't want you to ask. Oh, come on. It's chemtrails, sure thing, buddy. And so, yeah, there's a documentary about this. It's pretty good, by the way. The Truth of the Matter with Natasha
And we're
Jones.
continuing the conversation. Welcome back to The Truth of the Matter. I'm Natasha Zuves. We are shining a light on a dark chapter of American history and one that's largely unknown. During the Cold War, in the name of preparing for the Soviet threat, the U.S. government conducting human experiments on its own people without their knowledge or their consent. In part one of our conversation with Dr. Lisa Martino-Taylor, which is already posted, you can take a look. She described children, some of them orphans, being fed radioactive oatmeal. They were told they were joining a science club, promised a quart of milk a day, a trip to the beach, and years later they testified about the after effects.
So that this is all a matter of fact and a matter of record. This is just the two instances. We have the North St. Louis thing where and by the way, those people ought to be dug up out of their graves and hung who organized that whole thing, where they were going to, they decided to experiment on poor black people at Pruitt-Igoe. And then this feeding the kids radioactive oatmeal, orphans, by the way. You notice how the government, when they were doing all this, I mean, you talk about Nazis, right? The government, when they were doing all this, were doing it to the weakest people on the planet, the people who had no political voice, no powerful voice at all, and probably maybe wouldn't even notice. You're in some nice little suburban enclave somewhere in West County or whatever, and you're going to notice things being dropped all over you.
$100 could get me 3 suit pants.
Oh, you guys want me to buy some clothes before I get to the next one? Okay.
Vehicles to simulate how a biological attack might spread, all to prepare for potential warfare against the Soviets.
Many of us been in the military and had top secret clearances. We know how it works.
We have died for America. We have fought for America.
Yeah, not to mention all of the experiments at Tuskegee and beyond. I mean, this is so. Again, when you see people like the Wall Street Journal and other people in the establishment media dismissing people like Tucker Carlson and others, or banning you from Facebook for wondering what is up in the sky and the chemtrails and things like that. They are purposely ignoring documented history in this country. And so we've kind of so matured past this idea that we can dismiss conspiracy theories, whatever. I mean, hell, back in the day, I remember even at a conservative radio station, don't talk about the election fraud. Don't talk about a stolen election. Don't say that. Don't insinuate that. I mean, a lot of it has to do with the fact that I think a lot of people in conservative media were making the mistake of blaming voting machines, but that wasn't the fraud. And so they got all into trouble because they were blaming voting machines. So you could see how jumpy some corporate media entities would be if some host went out there and talked about Smartmatic machines and all that other nonsense. But, I always said that it wasn't anything complicated. Mail-in voting was institutionalized fraud. But now, even bringing that up, like when President Trump brought it up, he was treated like he was some kind of crazy man. Oh, like he wants to interfere. No, I mean, the mail-in voting thing, I don't see how we can even still legally do that. And that's one of the reasons why President Trump, and I told you this before, wanted to end the filibuster, because that would have been one of the things that the Senate and House would have done right away, and that is secure our elections and ban voting, mail-in voting everywhere. And I know there are some people concerned about the federalization of elections, and I get all that. But at what point are we going to stop clutching our pearls and being these salon Republicans sniffing at any idea that somehow we're not acting like Thomas Jefferson all the time? So again, I'm kind of going off the other end here, but again, conspiracy theories we should entertain all of them. And people like Tucker Carlson, you can tell they know he's influential. So, and now what they're trying to do, and Ben Shapiro isn't helping. I've never liked that guy. And Ben Shapiro isn't helping. Is trying to marginalize. Ben Shapiro's just jealous of Tucker Carlson mostly, and is choosing taking an opportunity to do this Nick Fuentes thing and make it out like Tucker Carlson's some kind of anti-Semitic Nazi. And that's just Ben Shapiro trying to feather his own nest because he knows that Tucker Carlson's more popular and likable than he is. And so we've got a lot of people coming down on a lot of different people like Tucker Carlson and everyone else, but these guys are all kind of, it's not only the left or the establishment media, it's people on the right who have a vested interest in bringing and reducing their competition. Coming up, ladies and gentlemen, the great Rick Pogue. It's Common Sense Radio, the 3 Martini Lunch, the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
Go back toward the center.
News, analysis, and opinion.
I've never called a talk show before, but this just irked me.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I am showing a home to a colleague's mom right after the show. I'm not quite sure I should be divulging that. I just realized I probably didn't. I don't know whether that's really public information. So anyway, but nonetheless, somebody here at News Talk showing their mom a home today after the show. The other day, I got a really great group of people, a nice couple, into a home in U City, beautiful house in U City. On Friday, I'm going to be putting together a listing for a home, and that's a beautiful one in Webster Groves, and all of it done with the Wallner home selling team of Berkshire Hathaway, of which I am a proud member after knowing Rodney and Jen for as long as I have. Congratulations. They are brand new parents to a beautiful little girl named Evie, and just great people, hard workers, and the top home selling team in the Berkshire Hathaway network in the entire state. And so I'm really proud to be with him. I mostly do buyer's agency stuff, which means I'm going to fight for you. This home in U City, I really wrangled a good price for these people, going back and forth in terms of negotiations and things like that. And we played it right. And a lot of it is all about good negotiating and sticking with your guns and that kind of thing. And so we did that. So you can be sure. And I'm just a clone of everybody else on the team. They're all really good at that and great at listing homes as well. 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD. We are there before, during, after the sale. So we are there for you with the Wallner home selling team of Berkshire Hathaway. 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD.
Want to work with a winner? Follow the multiplier. 279 times growth in total market cap in the past nearly 30 years. 50 times growth in client assets. And ranked the #1 wealth management firm for employee advisor satisfaction by J.D. Power 3 years in a row. Choose a winner. Choose Stifel, where success meets success. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE. For J.D. Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Steph's Pizza. You know the name. They're famous for their St. Louis-style pizza. But don't forget their party platters for the holidays. Steph's sandwiches, pasta, and pizza are always big hits at any get-together. And the party platters make it easy. 3 great locations, St. Peter's on Jargaman, in St. Charles on Sunville, and their newest location in Lake St. Louis at 111 Pondfort Trail. Check them out at Steph'sPizza.com, Steph'sPizza.com. And remember, tonight's a good night for Steph's Pizza.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. Until I called STL Windows and Doors. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or STLWindowsandDoors.com.
Hey, St. Louis golfers, looking for a new golfing experience? Sugar Creek Golf Course was voted the most popular golf course in St. Louis. Book your tee time today at sugarcreekgolfcourse.com and join the fastest growing golf community in town, sugarcreekgolfcourse.com.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here in Ashland there and on the Amazing Person line, sponsored by amazing people everywhere. The great Rick Pogue, who has returned from Key West to relax, apparently. How you doing, brother?
I'm in recovery, buddy. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. I love that place, and what a place. And I know you love entertaining people down there. So welcome back, brother.
Yeah.
So
thank you. Yeah, I spent the last 5 nights down there. So I slept in this morning like a vampire. My coffin's open. I came out, and yeah, I'll be okay.
Did you have any trouble flying or traveling or doing whatever it was you did to get there?
No. So interestingly enough, the day I was supposed to fly back, which I did fly back, my flights were fine, but I had friends down there. They had their flight canceled, and then they got on another one, left my house, went to the airport, which is only 8 minutes away, and when they got there, they canceled that flight. So luckily, they were able to work something out, and they got home by about 10 o'clock last night.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, when I went down there, we went down there last time. We flew into Fort Lauderdale, and I'm sure there were plenty of flights canceled there. That's for sure. So that's crazy.
Well, Monday, all the flights were canceled out of Key West because the winds were like 40 miles an hour.
Oh, really?
Ridiculous. So
yeah.
But yeah, there were. Yeah, I'm sure the government nonsense also affected it. But it was really nice to see Chuck Schumer kneel at the altar of Donald Trump. Though.
Yeah. I mean, and it's so obvious. It's so interesting to see the reactions. These guys, I've been watching. I don't know, on Facebook. Do you ever see these videos of these porch pirate bait boxes where people grab a box off the porch and it explodes all over them like colors and stuff? Well, so similarly, the Democrats, no matter what they do, everything kind of just blows up in their face, and they wind up having these these dye pack stains all over them for the remainder. And this whole thing, we knew what they were wanting to do from the beginning, and that is hurt people for political gain. So now we know.
Yeah, and they thought they had leverage. The bad news for them is the media isn't as effective as it used to be. There are too many conservative podcasts, and there's too many other ways that people are getting their information, and it's truthful, accurate information. They cannot just rely on the big 3 networks and CNN and MSNBC anymore, because by and large, people aren't watching. And so it doesn't work. Chuck Schumer can't cause a shutdown and then blame it on the Republicans and have everyone believe it. Those days are over.
Yeah. Can you imagine? When I look back on the day when we had basically 3 networks, can you imagine what we were not being told and what we were missing that whole time? Wow.
I cannot imagine, Jamie, and I'll tell you that it was a different Democrat Party too then. The Democrat Party was the party of JFK. There'd be a lot of conservatives that would be part of that party today, but that party it's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. The Democrat Party has morphed into something terrible. And it's unfortunately, there's a lot of people who keep voting that way, just blind loyalty to the brand, but the brand's different now.
Yeah, and I think that if you fast forward, I'd rather it be like now, for instance, when back in the day, everybody used to go back, remember the days of Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan? I go, well, those were the days when the parties, with the exception of Reagan being one of our heroes, right? But still, where the legislative parties were basically just negotiating our future away. Manufacturing beyond. So, of course, they were all happy together because they were both cooperating together to create a uniparty that wound up hurting us in spite of Ronald Reagan's best efforts. So I'd rather, I guess, at this point, it's kind of like when black people say they'd rather have a guy in a Klan outfit than a racist in a suit and tie because they know the guy in the Klan outfit's a racist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at least we know
that
these guys are bad people,
Yeah. Good point. I'd rather know who the person is and what they really believe than have them come at you as, wolf in sheep's clothing. So it's refreshing to hear that from Black Americans too.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, they're waking up to what's going on. There's more Americans every day seeing what's really going on that side. And with Donald Trump, part of his greatness to me, and I'm sure you agree, it's like shining sunlight in a dark corner. All the roaches scatter. You know, the reason I really believe one of the reasons he continues to win at everything, and their follies fail, the Democrats' follies fail. He just tells the truth. He's honest. He shines the light on what's really going on. It doesn't matter if it's bad for his party too. He shines the light on it and exposes it, and it's refreshing to see.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I don't know whether you heard the discussion I had about the chemtrails that Tucker Carlson is getting so much trouble for, when in fact that suspicion of the government playing around in the sky, it has been documented that that's what they've done. They did it in St. Louis, dropping all that stuff on black people in Pruitt-Igoe in the 50s, poison kids' oatmeal so that to do tests on them and things like that. And to me, I would not be surprised. You know, back in the day, it used to be a conspiracy theory that the CIA introduced crack to L.A. I totally believe that happened.
Yeah, I don't disagree. L.A., New York, you know, heavily black populated areas. I'm with you. There are a lot of things that you would think, no, our government would never do that. That's not possible. And like you said, proven and documented to have happened. I agree. I think that's real as well. You know, but it doesn't mean throw out government, you know, throw the baby out with the bathwater, get people in there, stop electing scumbags, stop electing people who just want to go there and do insider trading and become multimillionaires, and that's their motivation for going there, and they and you believe their lies. Elect people with integrity who want to go and do what our founding fathers intended, which was serve a couple times and get the hell out of there so somebody else can. It was never meant to be a career.
Yeah, to imagine Schumer's been in the Senate since I graduated high school. I mean, it's unbelievable.
We got our own problems. Mitch McConnell. How long's Mitch McConnell been there? The man can't even walk down a frickin' hallway now.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and you know,
what are they going to do? They're going to reelect him if he runs.
Well, and he's the one. I talked to my guys from Grunt Style yesterday on Veterans Day. He's the one who's trying to make sure that our veterans cannot use cannabis and THC and CBD for treatment of PTSD. So, and that's Mitch McConnell's deal. So that's down the line. But anyway, back to the conspiracy theories. So why do people think that there are so many people upset about Trump and the team blowing up drug boats coming over here? Because I don't think fentanyl is very far away from crack in terms of its purposeful introduction into our country.
And I cannot disagree with you, Jamie. I mean, I can't. There's more evidence, you know, for that to make that to support it than to oppose it. You know, and the UN. The United Nations, I saw a few days ago that, you know, they demanded Trump stop blowing up drug boats. Why? You know, why?
Yeah.
And that's what people have to ask themselves. You know, don't just learn the what. Learn the why. Learn the why of people say and do things that they do. Why is the UN against all this stuff that all this is all good? All the stuff that we should be doing, should be stopping, should be fighting. Why are they against all that? Well, look at who runs the UN. You know, China's freaking out right now because they had their tentacles in everything, and Trump is totally disrupting that.
Yeah, it's weird how these are the people who were always no one is above the law, and then suddenly, except of course, drug boats and illegal aliens. It's like what is going on? And Adam Schiff. So you know, it's like wow.
Yeah, frickin' Adam Schiff. Well, Chuck Schumer has sealed his fate. He created a government shutdown, thinking he had leverage. He had none. So all he did was kill 38 and 39 days and make people suffer for no reason other than his abject fear of AOC, who's a bigger moron, taking his Senate seat.
Yeah.
Now he's done. Now that he's lost this fight, they're throwing him overboard now.
Yeah, and I just I look at this situation where I'm now thinking, man, I hope the Democrat Party does actually transform into the Mamdani Party, because it's much easier to run against Antifa in a suit and dress than it is against some of these establishment Democrats. So the sooner we get those people out of the way, we can move in for the kill on the entire party. If we're just running against a bunch of Antifa activists, it's great,
Yeah, I agree, and I hate to see New Yorkers suffer, but it's kind of their own fault, and it's going to be a very good exercise in capitalism versus socialism / communism. I don't know if you saw on Facebook the country's largest shipping company, Swift, has ordered their dispatchers once he's sworn in, not to go into the 5 boroughs. Okay, it's going to get ugly in so many ways, and Mamdani thinks he's going to walk in there after 250 years and change change capitalism into socialism or communism. He's got a rude awakening coming.
Hey, by the way, real quickly, I guess I shouldn't have waited this long, but I know I talked to John Jerome yesterday. Heroes Care is just a phenomenal place right down the street from the Hideout. You guys are having an event. Is it Sunday or Saturday for Heroes Care?
You know what? Let me hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Again, the last 5 days are a little foggy, but
that's okay.
Ashley, our new manager, actually set that up.
Okay, well, good. Well, either way, I'll let people know about it. You can let me know, but I wanted to thank you and the Hideout. Okay, good. Thank you, Ashlyn. He just said Ashley, so I called him. We got another minute here. No, he said that you guys were helping out, and I think that's really cool. And man, that place, we were talking, and I've known John Jerome for more than 20 years, but even a lot of the people listening to my show now probably weren't aware of all that Heroes Care is doing. And so for the Hideout to step up and be part of all that, I mean, what they do for veterans is just unbelievable.
Yes, well, after my 1 day of recovery today and my IV and the whole 9 yards, I'm gonna plug back in tomorrow, and I'll be able to tell you anything you want to know by midday tomorrow.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, you can even pop back on so we can get some people out there. Okay. I might be able to stop by too. It's my daughter's 18th birthday, but I think we're going to figure something out. And so I know it's coming up. So I know it's this weekend somehow. But you guys doing
the Hideout? We're gonna, as you know, we've always supported all kinds of organizations, and we love helping people. That was the same way with Arrowhead, as you well know.
Yeah.
We're going to continue to do that at the Hideout.
Okay.
When you have a platform where you can do that, you have a responsibility to do so.
You're the best, brother. Always love talking to you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll tap back into you for the Heroes Care event. Rick Pogue, have a good one, brother.
Love you, brother.
Love you too.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Kate Monroe. I was in the Marine Corps. I don't think people really understand that the National Guard is essentially your neighbors. I mean, this would be like your house is on fire and all the great men and women on your block that are capable of helping you put out said fire, you call the police on them and then let your house burn down. That is essentially what these cities are doing. Because Orange Man wants to send people to help us, we're going to go ahead and let it just burn down.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. This December 13th, join Wreaths Across America at Belle Reve Gardens Cemetery as we remember the fallen, honor those who serve, and teach our children the value of freedom. Help us lay remembrance wreaths on the graves of our fallen heroes. Sponsor a wreath, volunteer, or bring your family to this meaningful tribute to our veterans, because every hero deserves to be remembered. Learn more and sponsor a wreath. Visit newstalkstl.com. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Americans who rely on SNAP food benefits can hardly wait for the U.S. government to shut down, to end, and that is expected to happen after the House votes today to do just that thing and sends a bill on to President Trump. The stores where they shop are also anxious for the program's full funding to resume. Ryan Spanka owns a local market northeast of Pittsburgh.
Sales not being there affects everybody's wages, affects everybody's hours, and let's face facts too. The people that should be here buying the product, they're not buying the product, so they're going without the product. They're going without meal.
The Senate stalemate caused a suspension of the federal aid affecting grocery purchases for some 42 million Americans. Russia's military continues its drone strikes and army advances in Ukraine. We get an update from correspondent Charles de Ledesma.
The strikes damaged buildings and warehouse facilities too, and fires broke out, the state emergency service said. In wider Russian attacks, 5 people were injured, authorities say. 4 have been hospitalized, and 1 woman received medical treatment at the scene. Meanwhile, the Russian army has overrun 3 settlements in the southern Zaporizhia region as Moscow's forces expand their efforts to capture more Ukrainian territory. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Apple preparing to release its quarterly earnings after the bell, with Wall Street expecting strong iPhone 17 sales and it's about 2026 product plans. A bullish outlook could lift shares to new heights and reinforce Apple's position in the burgeoning AI race. Consumer sentiment plunging near record lows, though, amid the prolonged shutdown. That's raising fears of weaker than expected holiday shopping, even though many retailers remain very bullish. On Wall Street right now, investors are bullish, at least for the Dow, up 398 points. The Nasdaq struggling, it's off by 63. And you'll find more of these stories at townhall.com.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Ma, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotions. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotions, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. That's why they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $25 a month. And if you're a business owner, you could really save a fortune. Dial pound 250, say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, everything you need and nothing you don't.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Got a good one going out there today. Sunny skies and a high in the mid-60s. Really dry air. You can feel how low that humidity is. And the winds will be light out of the northwest today. Now, they become southwest tomorrow, but the temperatures will be about the same because we'll definitely see an increase in the cloud cover tomorrow, which is one of the reasons you probably won't see the aurora borealis tonight. Those northern lights that we saw last night, not as high a probability on top of the fact that we'll have more clouds. From the KMOV Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kent Darrow.
Hi, I'm Helene Tobler, culinary nutritionist at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. Here we do practical wellness. Dr. Randy and I have a common sense approach to healthcare. My passion is helping our members enjoy better nutrition because food is medicine. We approach problems with a lifestyle foundation and cutting-edge medical tool chest. At Body of Health, it's about being your healthiest you. If you want to experience healthcare the way it ought to be, schedule a discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
Jeffco Patriot Radio.
Hey guys, Jefferson County Councilman Billy Crow here from Jeffco Patriot Radio. On behalf of Tim Jones and I just want to thank you for making Jeffco Patriot Radio the #1 listened to show on Sundays here on News Talk STL, where we dive into all the things happening in and around Jefferson County. Check Tim Jones and I out on Jeffco Patriot Radio this and every Sunday at high noon here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Jeffco Patriot Radio.
When it comes to spending your tax dollars and teaching your kids, governments and school districts should be an open book. But in Missouri, that's not always the case. Recently, the Show Me Institute sent out a sunshine law request to school districts across the state, asking for information on whether certain topics are being taught. Specifically, a controversial one called critical race theory was included in the list. Many districts didn't respond. Some wanted to charge large fees to process the documents. Lee's Summit outside Kansas City wanted over $35,000. A rural district, Morgan County, wanted $15,000. The Sunshine Law does allow charging a reasonable fee for sending out information, but there's nothing reasonable about $35,000 or $15,000. These districts should want to be transparent about their curriculums. Taxpayers deserve to know what their kids are being taught. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new app.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Allman Report on News Talk STL. This is the 3 Martini lunch. I think y'all ought to be on number 2 right by now. A little day drinking here. Jamie Allman here and Ashland there. House is back in action to vote on the shutdown end. Keep you updated on that. Somebody talking about the Northern Lights last night. I didn't see them. There's too much light sometimes where I am.
Came a voice from the sky on that magical night.
So I missed that.
In the colors of 1,000 sunsets, they traveled to the world on a silvery night.
So I made up for it by just staring at the sun today.
The people of the earth stood waiting, watching as the ships came one by one.
Which is kind of either an eastern light or a western light. It's never a northern light, but
Setting fire to the sky as they landed, carrying to the world children of the sun.
you guys know that
Children of the sun.
for the first time ever, the number 1 country Billboard chart topper is an AI generated song.
Everyone felt the sound of their heartbeat. Every man, every woman, every child.
Yeah. That happened fast.
They guess the limits of imagination.
I told
To the world of another time.
you guys when we had somebody in probably about 4 months ago,
And on the journey of 1,000 lifetimes.
and he said, you know, if you don't hop onto this AI thing, it will pass you by and eat you up. And here we are 4 months later with the number 1 song on the Billboard country music chart, AI. You guys want to hear it? Let me see. It's called Kick. Let's see what it says. Oh, this damn thing.
I'm gonna keep on talking and walk my walk. Ain't changing my tone, ain't changing my song. I was born this way, been loud too long. You can hate my style, you can roll your eyes, but I ain't slowing down. I was born to rise, so kick them rocks. If you don't like how I talk, I'm gonna keep on talking and walk my walk.
Guess it's kind of like bro country a little bit, you know, like that kind of thing. They just kind of
I've lost some friends.
took a little. It seems like they took a little Chris Stapleton and Freddie Swims, and kind of mixed that whole little fat guy gruff voice thing going on. I'm not saying Chris Stapleton's fat. Please forgive me. I'm not, but you know what I mean. It's just kind of that kind of. I love Chris Stapleton, but and it's Teddy Swims, right? Yeah. But they kind of just mix that up, and so the problem with this is that I just spilled my coffee saying hi to Stokes, saying hi to people over there when they pass by in that thing there. Say hi, and I spill my coffee. I'm sorry, my martini. Never mind. But where you get this kind of cookie cutter thing, and it kind of just takes the fun out of it when and that's the thing about AI that we're going to discover is it's not obviously it's not real. So all it is it's trying to kind of imitate what it is hearing. And Eli's like, brilliant one, Jamie. Nice pickup on AI. I'm like, okay, well, what I'm saying is that it becomes kind of it starts to exude a level of inauthenticity that you really can't really get into. Like if I didn't know this was AI, I'd probably be like, oh, this sounds, who is that? And the answer would be nobody. And that's hard, but again, it's just kind of the adaptation, and AI is particularly problematic for some people because AI is really kind of a mimic, and so but it's a really good one. Like it could pick up on nuances and things that otherwise, you couldn't really pick up on as an impersonator, like a Rich Little. Oh, I'm not a crook. That kind of guy, Rich Little. Remember him? We do Nixon. I'm President Nixon. It's like, who can't do Nixon? He would always go up on Johnny Carson's show. And it was like, like everybody on the planet, like a 5-year-old could do an imitation of Richard Nixon, but Rich Little was making bank imitating Richard Nixon. It's pretty funny. He's a good guy, though. But what's happening is it's just kind of like imitation, and really in the end, I think one of the things. Yeah, Phil, I am not a crook. It's like, okay, we get it. But one of the things that AI cannot reproduce is how you feel in receiving AI. Like how you feel in how you feel. Like it's like, for instance, there is something to be said for listening to music that is sung by a real person, as opposed to listening to music that is generated by a bot. But some people are purists. I mean, let's put it this way. Some people do not want to read a book on Kindle. They want to hold a book in their hands. Some people don't want to read a newspaper on the internet. They want to hold a newspaper in their hands. But there aren't many of those people, clearly, because Kindles are hugely popular, and the Post-Dispatch couldn't sell a newspaper version of its paper to save its life. So people do change, but it does matter the experience of the person on the receiving end of the AI generated thing. So I mean, like, for instance, I know that they come out with like AI generated porn or AI generated dates or something. I can't imagine somebody really, but we might be considered the fuddy-duddies. Maybe people are just like, no, I don't care, whatever. And so, but there is something that you can't take away the experience of how you feel singing, hearing somebody, a human being singing. Like, this guy, like, they'll never be in concert, right? Unless you're going to go and just watch a screen. And unfortunately for AI, its limitations are pronounced in that way because the way that musicians make money is through performances and concerts. They don't make money selling downloads on Apple. They might sell, make money selling CDs still or whatever, but the money that is to be made in music is normally done through concerts. That's how musicians make their cash. That's why that's why, in case you're wondering, sometimes you're like, why, man, these guys are famous. Why are they still on the road? That's because they make a ton of money on the road. So when you're performing in concert, you're making a crap load of money. I mean, Taylor Swift, you can go, well, she could just sit back and have people download her music, but she can't make any money doing that. But you can make money traveling and performing, and that's why they do it. AI can't do that. You can't. I mean, sometimes they have used AI and already to some degree when they're doing DJs and spinning records. But the reality is you don't really have a relationship with a person saying, coming up, Teddy swims. It's not normally disc jockeying is not designed on a relationship level. What I do is, like, you guys, well, you would probably be able to listen to an AI version of conservative talk radio, but you're never going to get stories. You might, but you're never really going to get stories or storytelling. You're going to get somebody just kind of repeating, ripping Chuck Schumer all day, but you're not going to get any depth. And I would like to think that one of the reasons why you guys listen to this show is because I'm doing it. And although obviously there's a million different avenues for you to take, in talk radio, for instance, our bread and butter is our relationship with you and our back and forth with you and our intimacy as it relates to the radio show. I don't think an AI generated host can do that. Now, there are some people who can just listen to somebody reading Breitbart all day, and I'm sure if it's a computer, that's fine. But so AI is formidable, but it's in some things it's never going to change. And this country music thing, that's a few and far between. Once people realize that they're just listening to a computer, there's no heartbeat behind it. I think most people, especially even in country music, are going to tap out. I mean, I just don't think that that's a case, especially since it can't be performed in concert. That's a big deal too. The one thing that if I'm, for instance, Coca-Cola, or I am McDonald's, or anything out there, wait till they perfect AI to reproduce tastes and all kinds of things like that. Then you will have hell breaking loose. Right now, you can take, like, for instance, I did this thing a while back, a story when I was at Channel 4, and it was called Guerrilla Flavoring. And there is an outfit here, I think they're still here, that will reproduce flavors. They create artificial flavors and natural flavors and whatever else. And I found out the difference between a natural flavor and an artificial flavor. And I'll tell you, there's a thing called a mass spectrogram. It looks like a microwave. And you take a dish and like a mortar and pestle, right? You can take an apple, a piece of an apple, and you smush the piece of the apple. And then you take that and put it in the mass spectrogram, and the machine will break down the flavor of that apple into all of its chemical components. And everything's a chemical, because a lot of people are like going, there are chemicals in there. It's like everything is a chemical. So anyway, they break it all down into all of its chemical components, and then they will take those chemicals and reproduce it. That's an artificial flavor, but natural flavors are sometimes based in a semblance of what's actually in the apple. An artificial flavor would be simply an out and out recreation of it, as close as you can get to some of the main components. You just throw it in there. I think I'm kind of bastardizing a little bit of the definition, but that's what the difference is. So you can take, like, one of the stories that was told is that those ices in the plastic thing. I love those little plastic things, the icy things. Ashley, you know what I'm talking about, with the little, like an icy. They got the juice in it. It freezes, and then you sit there and you push it up. And one of the most fun things to do is when the last piece, a little bit of juice is at the bottom, and you're sucking it out of the plastic. That's like the most fun thing. So, somebody brought them, like somebody like from Brazil or something, picked up a thing of ices from, or something like that, from a grocery store, brought it to these people and said, make us this. And actually the people at the place, I wish they knew what the hell the place was called. It was in North County or something. They said, well, we can actually make it better if you want us to. They're, nope, we want you to make it we want it to taste exactly like this. And that's exactly what they did. They recreated the flavoring. Now that is through a chemical process, and that's through a mass spectrogram that literally was I witnessed 30 years ago. So imagine how the technology has advanced to the point where once you infuse that into AI, you can literally steal the Coca-Cola recipe. I wouldn't doubt that you can right now. You couldn't just call it Coca-Cola, but you could make something that would be close and that would taste like Coca-Cola, and you could just insinuate that is Coca-Cola, and it'll taste exactly like Coca-Cola. That's how they are able to do Coke Zero or Sprite Zero or anything like that. They're taking the sugar out of it, but they're reproducing it artificially, basically. But Coke Zero tastes exactly like Coca-Cola. And Diet Coke tastes different than Coca-Cola because Diet Coke is a different recipe. So it's really kind of cool, to tell you the truth. But just wait though until AI starts to invade not newsrooms or radio stations or the music world, whatever. Wait till they start invading the commercial end of things. Then people will be very, very up in arms about the whole deal. Speaking of music, I ran across this tape of Maria Bartiromo sitting down with Prince. And then after that, we'll have a lot of fun with Joe Rogan basically predicting a coming civil war. So that'll be a gas to talk about, don't you think? This is Common Sense Radio. It's a 3 Martini lunch. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you that I just love Harry Parker. He has been a huge supporter of free common sense conservative radio for a long, long time. Man, what is it going on? Roughly, 20 years almost. Again, a lot of my folks go back 20 years and to the beginning of my formulation of common sense radio. So anyway, Harry and Gulf Shores Restaurant and Grill, that was when he had only one in Creve Coeur, 3 now, Edwardsville, as well as St. Peter's, and also in Creve Coeur, the original one in Creve Coeur. Today, for instance, during lunch, Pennsylvania Slim is most likely playing. He's been there a long time. Lunch and a beautiful weather like this is great to sit out on the patio at all the locations and hang out. The food there is outstanding. The fish tacos, man, are they good. I love getting the blackened mahi-mahi tacos, and you get these 2 big ones and a couple of sides, and it's really great. Don't forget about the crawfish etouffee and the clams, all the really great, and the gator bites, all the real wonderful mainstays of Cajun cuisine right there at Gulf Shores Restaurant and Grill. All of these recipes are born out of Harry Parker's family in New Orleans. That's where he grew up. The fish is all cut by hand. The sauces are all homemade, and the spices are even all homemade, thrown together that way in the spirit of Harry Parker's family. So you can be guaranteed you're going to get some wonderful vibes at Gulf Shores Restaurant and Grill. They have happy hour specials all the time, and it's just a beautiful place, and the atmosphere is fabulous. And Harry Parker, a big supporter of our military. On Veterans Day, he had free fish and chips for veterans, which is great. And then also he has the food truck. So you can go on GulfShoresRestaurantandGrill.com, and you're able to see maybe where the food truck is. You can see what it would be to go ahead and hire the food truck for an event you're having, and he and Erica will all come to you. You'll have the entirety of Gulf Shores, well, most of it, coming to you. GulfShoresRestaurantandGrill.com. That's GulfShoresRestaurantandGrill.com.
This holiday season, help Feed My People fill the shelves. News Talk STL and the STL County GOP are partnering for an annual food drive, November 10th through December 21st. Drop off your non-perishable food donations at all Bartolino's restaurants, all Chris's Pancakes and dining locations, and all 3 Michael's flooring outlets, or at the News Talk STL studios.
Hey, it's Mike Ferguson, and together we can make a difference for families in need.
Visit newstalkstl.com for complete drop-off locations.
Hi, it's Chris Arps, and I've been a customer of Royal Banks, Missouri for many years. They're a full-service, locally owned and operated community bank with 17 locations throughout the St. Louis area, including locations in Hannibal, Jerseyville, Granite City, as well as 2 locations in St. Charles. Plus, given today's headlines in the overall banking industry, it is reassuring to know Royal Banks, Missouri has the highest financial ratings in St. Louis for stability and strength. Royal Banks of Missouri is reinvesting in its hometown, University City. They've now opened the doors to their new location at 8550 Olive Boulevard at the corner of Olive and McKnight. Stop by to see their refreshed look with the same exceptional Royal Bank service you know and trust. Learn more about the move in University City by visiting royalbanksofmo.com today. That's Royal Banks of Missouri, the community bank for your community. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever I'm at, home, car, wherever.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Just the convenience on the phone. Streaming live on the mobile app.
Love the new app.
And listen anytime,
everywhere.
Anywhere.
Yeah, sing it, Joey. It's Joey Ramone. And guess who he's singing about? Did you guys know Maria Bartiromo has a song about her? I played it before, so if you're familiar with the Allman brand, you've heard this before, but I used to have Maria Bartiromo on the air with me when we were affiliated with Fox. It was easier to get people from Fox. And I love Maria Bartiromo. She's a badass, and you could tell like she takes zero crap from like any of the men around her. Can you imagine what it must have been like for her? Like I think she was at CNBC, right? I mean, there's so many skirt chasers back in those days when she was one of the few females doing that kind of work. Like, he didn't even mess with her. That's why nothing happened to her when she was talking about election fraud. Like, they kicked Lou Dobbs right to the curb, and Lou's a good guy, bless his soul. But they didn't mess with Maria Bartiromo at all, and you have to know why, right? She's probably got so much dirt on those scumbag dudes at Fox News. She's untouchable. Joey Ramone, she told me the story about it. He was so enamored with her that and of course, he's Italian, she's Italian. And so he wrote a song about her, Maria Bartiromo, and it's aptly called Maria Bartiromo. The reason I'm bringing this up, by the way, before we talk about the upcoming civil war here in America, is that I ran across this video, and I was like, is that Maria Bartiromo? So I don't know what show this is, and maybe you guys do. And she's with Prince. And they're obviously doing an interview. I don't know what show she was doing before she went to CNBC, or whether this is a CNBC thing, or whether this is maybe a local news outlet or something, and maybe you guys know. But I run across, and it's Prince sitting on a couch, asking the hostess, which turns out to be Maria Bartiromo, if she knows any songs.
Blues. I have a jazz. I didn't know you were going to do this. Okay. How about one of
So Prince is trying to get her to sing a song with him, to like sing one of his songs. And I'm like, what is this? This is
one of your oldies, since you're telling everybody that you're not going to be playing your oldies anymore. How about Purple Rain?
I don't know that one.
You do. You lie.
Okay.
And actually, Prince, if you didn't know that already, Prince had a pretty great sense of humor. He was pretty funny and pretty deadpan, and is another person who didn't take any crap from anybody. Prince was amazing. Okay, thank you, Ash. And her show special report on CNBC. Okay, wow. So she had Prince on there. Thank you, dear.
Okay, you sing it.
How could I even try? I'm sitting here with Prince. I'm gonna sing.
And she's really cute too. And she's looking at the thing because he really wants her to sing it, and she is like, she looks at the camera. It's like, I'm not going to sing Purple Rain.
She's tearing up. Oh.
That's not what the audience wants.
You should look it up if you want to see it.
That's the idea.
You are great, Prince. Thank
Well,
you so much. I'm sorry. I wimped out. I'm afraid because I don't have a voice.
Yeah. You were so great, Prince. It's like, wow. I mean, and look at where Maria Bartiromo is now. You know, it's like, it's crazy. But that's what makes her all the more likable. And of course, Prince is major league cool too. All right. So what do you think about a good old fashioned civil war here in America? Joe Rogan's right though. When you put it this way. So where I am, it's really kind of hard in being on the radio as we do. We do have a level of responsibility. So I never really want to, I would never suggest or promote or be happy about a civil war. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that you don't talk about it and protect yourself and know that there's a strong possibility that the violence is not going to end. And part of that reason is that we're not giving up. Like back in the old days, you know, Black Lives Matter would go boo, and we'd be like, oh no, you know, we would be intimidated by them. We're not doing that again, right? All the COVID people, all the lockdown people, all that other stuff, the vaccine people, you know, even Antifa back in those days and whatever. The Republicans were ready just to give up because they were scared, because Republicans generally are cowards about standing up for what they believe in. G.W. Bush, a great example of that, even though he won. I'm just saying, these guys were a weak trick. And unfortunately, Donald Trump is an unusual Republican, not a usual Republican. So we certainly can't count on the likes of Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham and some of these other Republicans to be there for us. They will cut and run in seconds flat. But the rest of us aren't giving up. And unfortunately, that's only going to make things possibly worse because the left expects us to. Like the media expects Republicans and those of us who are Make America Great Again to water down our views, and it's actually going in the opposite direction. So that is something that's going to start to aggravate the left even more, which is quite possibly what led to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and that is his ongoing influence and his refusal to step it back and step down. He just wasn't going to do that. So, and unfortunately for the left, is what happened is they assassinated him and then celebrated it and then created about 20 million more of him. So again, that didn't help matters at all. So in this particular situation, nobody is going to be caving. There will be Republicans who will. So it's not going to get any better for the left. And since they don't have any real answers politically, philosophically, or anything else, they're going to resort to violence because that's all they really actually know. And believe me, I don't separate Antifa from Chuck Schumer, Adam Schiff, Eric Swalwell, AOC, whatever, because they know what they're doing. Like the Democrat Party knows that they have a dependable goon squad to do its bidding and violence. They did it during the first election of Donald Trump. They did it in 2020. They did it in 2024. And so they have a goon squad, and in some cases, as we've seen, a death squad as well. So at that point, they're not going to give up because they don't have anything but violence. And the only way they're going to be able to achieve anything is through violence. And so that's the only thing they know. So that's why Joe Rogan is pointing out we're kind of in this really bad situation now where we're some really bad people out there that ultimately they're going to have to deal with whatever. I'm praying that neither anybody on the left or another person on the right of prominence gets killed. I hope that doesn't happen. Back in the day, obviously, in the 60s, how America got through it is beyond me. But you had the assassination of John F. Kennedy. You had the assassination of Martin Luther King. 3 months later, you had the assassination of Robert Kennedy Jr., not to mention the assassination of Malcolm X, all in 1 decade. And how America got through that is beyond me. I think that's worthy of study. But I'm not sure whether or not in this particular atmosphere we'd be able to get out of that one without something really bad happening. So anyway, Joe Rogan points this out, and I think it's important to note.
Charlie Kirk gets shot, and people are celebrating. Like, whoa, 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 whoa. You want people to die that you disagree with? Like, where are we right now on the scale of 1 to Civil War? Where are we? Are we at 7? Because I thought we were at 5. I thought we were like 4 or 5. But after the Charlie Kirk thing, I'm like, oh, we might be like 7. This might be like step 7 on the way to a bona fide civil war. As soon as you start like regular people celebrating somebody getting murdered in front of their wife and kid on television in front of the whole world, as soon as you celebrate that, like, man, you're in dark territory. You're in dark territory. And if the worst thing you could say about that guy is that he said some things I disagree with, and you're celebrating that he got shot in the neck in front of the world, whoa. And you work at an insurance company? This is nuts. And you thought it was okay to say that on Instagram? This is nuts. This is nuts. Like, what are you guys on? Like, what's happening here?
Yeah. And he's right when you break it down that way. I know it sounds simple, but the reality is, remember when Barack Obama, when Trayvon Martin was killed? That could have been my son. That's like my son getting killed. I'm like, yeah, probably, maybe, Barack, it's fine. But the reality is, Charlie Kirk is one thing, but these same people think that same way about you and your children. Like your high schooler who supports Charlie Kirk, the teacher who celebrated Charlie Kirk's death would just as soon see your high schooler dead too. And that's what Joe Rogan's point is, that you're starting to get into some real heavy duty stuff when you've got, and I think his comment, when you look at Joe Rogan's comment like that, you're realizing when he says, yeah, and you work at an insurance company. And that was probably the most shocking thing of all, is the people who celebrated his assassination. I mean, I couldn't say it any better than Joe Rogan at that point, but who were people who were right next to you in the office. They were some of your family members. They were people who teach your children, who work at the restaurant where you eat, who were shopping next to you at the grocery store, filling their gas tanks up next to you at the gas station. That's when things start to really get heady. because it's not just then that point the politicians trying to get us all lathered up and get us all going. It really is. It really are. These are people who are in your midst, walking around in your same area. And that's when you get the most trouble, because at that point, like it used to be, well, I know who to watch out for. You could profile them, and you could do whatever, or yeah, that's an Antifa guy, or there's that fat black chick in spandex from Black Lives Matter. You know where they are. But when there's somebody who's just like next to you on the treadmill, it becomes a really scary situation. Especially since if they think it's okay for Charlie Kirk to be assassinated, they sure as hell will think it's okay for you to be. And they do also. So I don't know whether this is just a denigration of our society, or what it happens to be, like whether we've just kind of fallen that amorally or not. But maybe that's the case too. I don't know. If you want to look at it historically, it was, if you look at the Civil War, right around 1853, this was about 7 years before the Civil War actually started in some way, shape, or form. The whole thing was resolvable. Like the North was telling the South, keep your slaves, just don't expand. Don't keep going. You could keep what you have now, and we'll settle it there, and then we'll move along our merry way. So the South decided at that point, well, no, we're going to move into Kansas. And that was when the big Kansas uproar started. And then it was the point of no return, because at that point, the North was like, all right, you just expanded into Kansas. We told you not to. And now you're doing that, and you have every intention of expanding slavery west. And we're going to stop you. And I mean, that's a simplistic way of saying it, but the problem with the South is they didn't know when to quit and just normalize. And so much like the left, they're going to take it another step further. It'll be basically their call as to whether or not something worse happens between us all peace-loving Americans. So we'll see, but hopefully they will draw back as opposed to ratchet it up, because it's not going to pay off very well. Joe Adams sent me a picture of the Northern Lights, man. He's way out there in God's country, and they've got a beautiful shot of it. He also said, and this is off the grid, because Rich Little is a friend of mine. I can get him on the air with you if you want. I'm like, okay. If you have any doubt that Joe Adams is a true Renaissance man, the fact that he's friends with Rich Little, and you know what? It's kind of wonderful that Rich Little is still alive. Good things happening. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
While she's reporting, you best stay out of her way.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Like Ferguson in the morning, I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Yes, indeed, folks. Gemini Wealth Group. Wow. Jeff Portman and his team. I've heard from a couple of you who are already, kind of in the swim of things with your retirement. I know he says he's got a lot of calls from those of you listening to the show, and I do absolutely appreciate that. More than anything, I appreciate it because I know that you're going to be well taken care of in your retirement. And I know that everything I'm saying actually does happen. So all those wonderful things that have the added benefit of being true, not a bad thing in any way, shape, or form. So the Gemini Wealth Group, the GeminiWealthGroup.com, is going to take super good care of you in making sure that everything is set up for you, maybe even to the point where you take that nest egg that you have, diversify it into strong types of investments, strong enough to where maybe you could live off just the dividends for a while until you finally have to crack that nut. It's fine. But you got to make sure you're ready to go in terms of your healthcare costs, in terms of your expenses with regards to taxes that you might have left over, all that kind of thing, medical care, housing, everything else. The good news is nowadays, people, when they retire, they're living 20, 30, maybe even 40 years after they retire. The bad news is just that too, because you got to make sure you're ready to rock and roll, and that investment, that retirement is going to stretch itself out to where you can be comfortable and living comfortably in your truly golden years. The GeminiWealthGroup.com, the GeminiWealthGroup.com.
Tom Shaw Realtors representing the sale and development of more than 150,000 acres. Selling, buying. Call Tom, 636-432-1922. Ask about hunting leases. ShawRealtors.com.
Is diabetes keeping you from enjoying life's special moments? At US Med, we understand the challenges you face, and we're here to help.
With US Med, I can finally manage my diabetes without it managing me.
US Med offers a wide range of services to simplify your diabetes care. Personalized care plans, convenient access to cutting-edge diabetes tech, and knowledgeable support. Plus, we'll check your insurance so your diabetes care may be covered at little or no cost to you.
With US Med, I feel confident and control of my diabetes. I can finally live my life to the fullest.
Don't let diabetes hold you back. Choose US Med and experience better birthdays, better adventures, better anniversaries, and better everything. Call now. US Med. Better service, better care. 800-515-2380. 800-515-2380. 800-515-2380. That's 800-515-2380.
Colombo and Company.
More fallout from the shutdown deal and the one-on-one between Trump and Pete Buttigieg. We'll discuss it Wednesday. Plus, Missouri political insider Rodney Boyd, and we'll open Close's cabinet.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here with you. You know, I'm not saying that the boomers created like a great generation, but I think we did a pretty good job in that sense. But somebody younger than us pooped out a dude named Jihad. You believe that? Like they named him Jihad. Golly. He was one of those arrested in this Turning Point Antifa mob thing. A guy named Jihad. It's like, come on, man. I guess there are some people who would hire him, but you think a tattoo was a bad idea. How about naming your kid Jihad? I love it when the Trump administration does stuff like this. So they have this they have a they don't even care. Like they do not give two F's what people think about what they call things and what they do things. And so they are working with Florida now, and They have a they have a operation called Operation Dirtbag, where they've arrested already 150 illegal migrant sexual predators apprehended in Florida. These are the people who are the best friends of the Democrat Party. And Kristi Noem was on this morning with the Fox and Friends people.
Operation, because this is stunning. This is a win not only for the administration, but also for the country. How are you able to nail these sex offenders? That's not easy.
Oh, Lawrence, our partnership with Florida is absolutely amazing. This operation was called Operation Criminal Return. I call it Operation Dirtbag because these individuals were sex offenders, but not just sex offenders. They targeted children. So sexual assault, battery, attempted homicide. These 150 individuals will be gone off of our streets. Our kids will be safer. And this partnership with Governor DeSantis in Florida is a model that we want to replicate across the country.
Yeah, I mean, and what's interesting is the model the left will replicate across the country will be protests against operations like this. I just don't understand how they, as I told Rick Pogue earlier, the left is slowly but surely going to just simply turn itself into just the Antifa party and people who just embrace drug boat inhabitants and sexual predator illegal aliens, people who light things on fire, people who murder commentators. That's like, man, you guys are Chuck Schumer and Dick Durbin and those guys are just probably gonna be thankful that they're retiring or getting out of there, because I don't know whether Chuck Schumer actually is, but I think they're gonna be like, man, we give up. By the way, Pam says, Jamie, we aren't boomers, we're Generation Jones. Yeah, it's like a boomer. I'm 62, so is a boomer, I don't know. I never got the generation thing right anyway. Well, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Ashlyn, thank you so much for everything. Coming up next, it's Colombo and Company. Tony Colombo. Have a wonderful rest of this beautiful day.
Craving authentic Cuban flavors? Come home to Havana 1961, where family recipes passed down through generations come to life in every bite. From chef and owner Mama Maria's famous Cuban sandwiches to classic entrees bursting with bold, fresh flavors, we bring the warmth and tradition of Havana right here to Missouri. Havana 1961, where great food, culture, and community